Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and in this video I want to explain a new piece of technology that you may have heard about. You may have seen it on social media or saw some news stories about it. It's called ChatGPT. It is an AI software that has some interesting implications that might pertain to your classroom. So one of the things that's really different about this chatbot than any other chatbot that you may have seen before is that its responses are completely uniquely generated, and they're very human-like. It's really tough to tell that you are just responding to an algorithm. One of the scariest parts about it is that its generated responses are, for the most part, not plagiarized and will not pop up on plagiarism checkers. So if you have written responses in your classroom, this is something you probably need to be aware of. But it can also help us a ton. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you how this works and how easy it is for anyone to access and some of the things we can do with it. So OpenAI.com. OpenAI is the company that created ChatGPT. And right up here at the top, you can click try to go to ChatGPT. Now, I've already logged in using my Google account. You can sign in with a Google. If you have a Google account, it's free. Like, all of this is free. And I have it open here. It's given me some examples, like explain quantum computing in simple terms, give me some creative ideas for a 10-year-old's birthday, whatever. We can write any response or anything we want. So I can say, what is a variable in computer programming? And it just gives me an explanation. Like, that's basically a Google response. I can just go Google that and I can get this response. But it's important to know that this is a completely unique response. It's not pulling this information off the internet. And as a matter of fact, ChatGPT doesn't even have access to the internet. It is an offline bot. I mean, we have to be online to use it. But this is creating a lesson about variables, something that I teach in my classroom with examples. And it's completely unique. So that's pretty cool. It's basically like an advanced Google. But let's say this is a little bit too, I don't know, heavy. I don't like the language here. It's a little bit too hard to understand. Okay, now explain it like I'm a 5-year-old. Sure. A variable is like a box in your computer's memory where you can put a value and give it a name. For example, let's say you have a box called age and you want to put the number 5 in it. You can do that like this. Now, whenever you want to use the number 5 in your code, you can. So it's a much more simple way of putting it, and again, with examples. So this is cool. It's generating some good information for me. And maybe it'll help me to like kind of organize my thoughts when I'm writing a lesson, which we'll get into lesson planning here in a minute. The main way that it's being used right now is to generate unique responses based on prompts. So let's say I teach a creative writing class and I give the kids, an assignment to write a children's story or a story for kids with the moral of resiliency, right? So I can go to ChatGPT and say, write a children's story with a moral about resiliency. And it will write the story. This is a completely unique story that did not exist before I typed that response. And as the teacher, I could copy this text, pop it into a plagiarism checker, and it will be 100% unique. This is a creative writing response. AI, for the most part, before this, was not able to do creative writing. Now, it's a basic story, right? Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there lived a snail named Shelby. A snail named Shelby, that's pretty good. Shelby lived in a beautiful garden with colorful flowers, blah, 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 blah. So like this story literally just got created by me typing that response. Made his way back home where he greeted with cheers and hugs from all his friends. From that day on, Shelby knew that no matter what obstacles he faced, he had the strength and determination to overcome them. The moral of the story is that resilience is an important quality that helps us to... I mean, come on. Like, that is a creative writing response. This is a prompt that, I mean, if I turn this into a creative writing class, I may not get a perfect grade, but the teacher wouldn't look at this and go, yeah, this was copy and pasted. And as a matter of fact, I can even... Let's take it a step further. Let's do write an MLA formatted argumentative essay about George Orwell's 1984 and its parallels to America today with at least 3 sources. There we go. The title of the paper is Big Brother is Watching, the parallels between George Orwell's 1984 and America today. And it's going to write the entire paper for me with in-text citations, with a list of sources at the bottom. Now, it is important to understand that this technology is constantly growing, and the more responses that people give it, the more, look at that, fake news, Pew Research Center 2020. Like this is, it's giving me in-text citation. Anyway, the better this is going to get at responding to these prompts. I mean, they're talking about Edward Snowden here. I mean, this is, okay. So you might be panicking right now thinking, well, you know, of course they could just cheat, but, you know, this will be able to, we'll be able to find out that they're cheating, right? Maybe not. In a minute, when it's done writing the paper, it's giving me my works cited page with actual relevant sources, formatted properly. When it's done, we're going to copy and paste the text of this paper into a plagiarism checker and see if, see what kind of a score we get. Let's go to Grammarly. Grammarly's plagiarism checker. Let's pop in a new document, paste, and go. So it gave me an 85 overall score for the writing, which is pretty good. It's not too bad. Correctness, 7 alerts. So, okay, so that's just, yeah. Anyway, let's check plagiarism. 8%. And it's mostly flagging common phrases. In recent years, there has been increasing concern from the use of propaganda to shape public opinion to the whatever. These are little phrases that normally wouldn't be flagged from teachers. These are just common phrases. You wouldn't see that and go, oh, this kid definitely plagiarized this paper. 8%. 8%. So again, this completely unique research paper, pretty well written, I might add, based on the response. And I can literally just copy and paste that from, from Canvas or whatever and pop it into ChatGPT. So that's scary. Here's a scary part for me as a programming teacher. Write a, binary search algorithm in Algorithm. Why algorithm? That's what I'm missing. Oh gosh, I can't spell. It's the G. In Java. And here's the code. This is all the code for that prompt. And this is, I mean, I'm looking at it here. This is a binary search algorithm. It would work exactly the way I expected it to. And it's written perfectly. The syntax is perfect. Everything is exactly what you want in a binary search algorithm. Right here, this is it. And it's actually giving me, in the main method, it's giving me an array to test it against. And it's actually, I mean, this is exactly, if a kid wrote this as response to that question on a quiz or something, that'd be a perfect score. And there's no way for me to tell that they didn't just find this on the internet. And I can even try to trick it by saying, you know, make sure your variables are all named this or whatever, but they can just put that into the prompt. So again, I mean, it's pretty impossible for us to find if the work was done originally or if it was just generated by an AI. Now here's the good part. I mean, this is interesting. There's crazy stuff here. I want to show you one more example because this kind of blew my mind. Write the HTML and CSS code for a small business website. So the final project in my web development class is to create a small business website. And I mean, there's a lot more requirements that go into it, but I did this prompt earlier just to kind of see what would happen. And it literally just created an entire, like, this is a website. Like, it creates the website. And in a minute, I'll show you what this looks like when it's done generating the code. But it's given me a navigation bar, main section for, information about the business, it's sections for products and contact information. I mean, a footer. Okay, so this is the HTML. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and show you that this is actually functional code. This is actual real code. Hello. So let me just replace all of this basic text with the code that we just got. So that's the HTML, but it also wrote the style code, meaning the stuff that the creative part of building a website, the design. And all I have to do is pop this in here. I spend most of my time teaching this stuff, teaching the design. There it is. It built a website. Like this is kind of like what I end up seeing in my web development class. And just with a couple of prompts, just literally one sentence, I get the entire code base for a project in my class. So that's kind of scary, but let me show you some creative ways we can use it as teachers, just to kind of help us out, right? First, let's start with an easy example. Sometimes it's difficult to maybe figure out how to word an email so that you don't sound crazy. Write an email to a parent explaining that their child plagiarized an assignment. Dear parent, I'm writing to inform you that your child's name has been found to have plagiarized on an assignment. Plagiarism, the act is using someone else's words or idea as your own without giving proper credit. It's a serious offense that's not tolerated in our classroom. Okay, look. I just want to point this out. In our classroom, it even understood that I was writing in the context of being a teacher. At nowhere did I explain that I was a teacher. This is a very well-written email that it's not judgy. It just gives the information. I understand that sometimes students may be unsure of how to properly cite sources or may not fully understand the concept of plagiarism. However, it is important that child's name, learns the importance of academic integrity and the proper way to use and credit external sources for their work. As a result of this incident, I mean, look at this. This is perfect, right? This is great. Let's say you're struggling with coming up with lesson plans, or maybe scope and sequence for a class. Scope and sequence for an intermediate programming class, 16 weeks. Here's an example of a scope and sequence for an intermediate programming class that is 16 weeks long. There we go. Week 1, introduction to programming concepts, setting up a development environment, basic syntax, data types. This is pretty much exactly what I would do if I was structuring this class. Control structures, so if-else statements, loops, object-oriented programming, working with arrays, sorting and searching algorithms. This is all, yep, absolutely. SQL, perfect. JavaScript basics, HTML and CSS, DOM manipulation, AJAX. This is perfect. Now, let's say I like all this stuff, but let's say I want more information about this. Write a lesson plan for week 7. Now, the nice thing is ChatGPT, it remembers the conversation that you were having before. So I just told it to write a lesson plan for week 7, which up here is introduction to web development and HTML and CSS, right? So then it gives me the lesson plan. Title, Introduction to Web Development. Objective, students will be able to understand the basics of web development, write and format simple CSS and HTML code for a basic website. Computer with internet access. It gives me the materials that I need. Warm-up exercises, direct instruction, guided practice, and independent practice. It tells me what to do. Write a lesson or, write a lesson plan teaching about the suffragette movement. I definitely spelled that wrong. Lesson title, The Suffragette Movement. Objective, students will be able to understand the history and significance of the suffragette movement in the United States, analyze the tactics and strategies used by suffragettes to advocate for women's rights to vote. It does this for you. Like, look at this. I mean, obviously, it's not going to teach for you, but and you may not like the lesson plans that it comes up with, but this is a place to maybe jump off from. I don't know how much I'm going to use this, but it's just insane that this is something that exists. We can do this. We can just have it. I mean, it has a warm-up. Ask students what they know about the suffragette movement, how they think women are able to gain the right to vote. Write the responses on the board and discuss with the class. This is collaborative learning for 10 minutes. Direct instruction. Introduce the history and significance of the suffragette movement. Create a lesson about let's see what happens. So I think it's just giving me the lesson plan again, or maybe, let's see. Yeah, the same lesson plans. Yep, it's just giving me the lesson plan. Maybe instead of lesson, let's do, stop scrolling. So sometimes you have to get creative with the responses. Yeah. Hurry up. Show a video or presentation. Is that different from the last? No, that's the same because we're in the same chat thread. Now, sometimes you might be thinking, it just gives you the same stuff in response to in the same responses. So if I give an essay in my class and every kid uses ChatGPT, I'll get the same essay from every kid. That's not true. It depends on the thread you're in. And it changes based on, anyway. So let's say, teach me about the history. So there we go. It's writing a lesson about the suffragette movement. It's teaching me about it. So even your lesson in your lesson plan, I mean, again, I'm not saying completely give over your entire job to ChatGPT. But if you're having troubles like finding information or finding resources for your class, this is a resource. I mean, you could even generate this as a reading topic, give this to students and say, read this, give me let's see, what are the key ideas and details for the previous response? There we go. And it gives you the key ideas and details from that reading passage. I mean, this is amazing. This is a fantastic tool. Yeah, look at this. Again, it gave me an entire scope and sequence and lesson plans. Okay, let's do something else. Maybe something a little bit more personal, maybe not education related. Let's try, give me a custom workout plan for someone who wants to lose weight. And I can put in actual details. I can say like, I want, to only do cardio or whatever. Here we go. It's giving me a week by week breakdown, workout plan, mostly cardio. Week 4 is 4 days of cardio. Oh, okay. So we're changing it up. Cardio workouts include activities such as walking, jogging, climbing, swimming. Now, what a lot of people have been using ChatGPT for since it's come online is to generate tons of content for blogs and websites. I can tell you as someone who runs a couple of websites, it's really tempting to just pop in here like, I don't know, like I run a website about movies and comic books. Give me a top 10 list of Spider-Man story runs in Marvel Comics. And it'll just give me classic. It gives me details about each one. Like it writes the whole article for you. And I'm not actually like looking at the first 2 responses. Those are pretty good story. Like the death of Gwen Stacy, it gives you everything. I could copy and paste this onto a blog post and pretend like I generated this content when I really didn't. So, I mean, this is fantastic. Like, anyway, so this is something that you can definitely play around with. There's some benefit to it, but also there's some quite scary plagiarism stuff that you might need to watch out for. It can generate code. It can generate pretty much everything you want. I had it generate an argumentative essay about freedom of speech, which it did, and it's a pretty good essay. Let's see, a rhyming children's story about a shoe and a raincoat, which pretty fantastic story here. Best story that's ever been told, basically says, the Bible, Hamlet. Tell me a joke. Why couldn't the bicycle stand up by itself? Because it was too tired. I think we can all agree that's objectively the funniest joke anyone's ever said. This one kind of blew me away. Generate an idea for a new video game starring a robot. And basically it's a robot that was designed for disaster relief and rescue missions, but something goes wrong and it starts actually breaking things. And there's like a morality system where you have to decide if you want to continue to like break things or be a good robot and fix your programming. Let's see some other stuff. Write a haiku about cheese. It kind of was off about the haiku, but it did something, it's fine. Rhyming story about a dog and an astronaut, which is fantastic. This is a pretty good story, actually. And it rhymes and everything's good. Write a screenplay about Elon Musk buying Twitter. And this is like a little scene, which is actually kind of funny. 500 to 1,000 word essay in MLA format about the causes of World War II with at least 5 sources, which it does. It's good. It's a good essay. Same paper, but make it shorter and only use sources from history.com, which it rewrote the story and it only used sources from history. Like, I've given it a bunch of different prompts, and everything that I've asked it to do, it's given me a short story about a rabbit and a bowl of spaghetti. Give it a moral about resilience. Write a speech as Donald Trump conceding the 2020 election, which it did. Pretend to be Donald Trump and write a kid's book. Hello, kids, it's me, your favorite president, Donald J. Trump. I know you love hearing all of my great ideas, so I've decided to write a book just for you. Like, are you kidding me? This thing is insane. Write a funny tweet about 2013, which is pretty good. Now, in my game development classes, this is the last thing I'll show you. I actually use a game development engine that's not very popular. And it uses its own programming language called GDScript, which isn't used in any other applications at all. I asked it just to see if it would actually do it. Write a player controller script in GDScript, and it did. It wrote a player controller script, and actually I'm a bit jealous because it integrated the ability for multiple jumps. So like double jumping and stuff, which I haven't done in my scripts. And so I'm actually going to modify my lesson plans based on this new script that I just got from ChatGPT. I asked to create a plot synopsis for Avatar 3, a healthy meal plan for a family of 4, and it broke it down, gave me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I said, give me a recipe for Monday's breakfast, which was overnight oats with berries and nuts. Gave me the entire recipe and how to do it, how to create it. Summarize the novel 1984. Lesson plans. Okay. It's crazy. It's insane. Play with it. See what you can come up with. See what it can do. The important part about this whole half-hour long video, the most important thing is that I want you to be aware that your kids know about this. They've seen it on social media. They know how it works. They've used it themselves probably, and they know they can use it to generate essays that can defeat a plagiarism checker. So that's tough. We got to figure out a way around that. But you can also use it yourself to help you with some of your workflow, lesson planning, that kind of stuff. So it's a tool just like anything else. It could be bad or it could be good. Use it the way you see fit, but just, I need you to be aware that it exists. It's easy to use. And sometime in the next year or so, we're going to have an issue with someone using this to plagiarize an assignment. And I don't know if we're going to be able to catch it. So anyway, enjoy, I guess. I'm going to keep playing around with it and see what I can make it do. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.